Lesson 9.8, Factoring Polynomials Completely. This is the last lesson of Unit 9, and what we're doing is taking everything we've done so far and putting it all together, because there can be factoring that has many more steps than just one. We talked about this last class. It's actually an intermediate step, or actually 2 classes ago. So how do we factor these? Well, we look and we see that there's a common x plus 4. So we pull that out. And if we pull the x plus 4 out, what's left? 2x minus 3. So you're just factoring out something common. We used this when we did complex factoring. So again, here, there's an invisible 1 right there. X minus 2 pops out in the back. X plus 1 pops out in the front. And it's called factoring out a common binomial, something we've done previously. But how do we factor by grouping? Well, we've already done this. We created a 4-term polynomial and looked at 2 terms at a time. So the key to this is that if I ask you to factor something, you see there are 4 terms, then you just group them. Take the first 2 and the last 2. Here we've got x squared, and actually I'm going to do this a little differently. X squared's in here, leaving me x plus 3. 5 is in here, leaving me x plus 3. And the way we know we did it right is if we end up with the same things in the parentheses. Finish it off, we put the x plus 3 back here, x squared plus 5 up here. Should be able to do this based on the work we've done in the past. Made your life miserable and tortured you a couple classes ago, and now hopefully it'll be a lot easier. So try it again. Might want to pause the tape. You'll notice that it's out of order, so put it in order first. Now you can factor by grouping. And there it is, it's factored. Now, looking at these problems, what should we do first? It's not 4 terms, so it's not going to be factoring by grouping, but it's got next to the third, which makes us hesitate, think about how would we solve that. Well, always look to see if you can pull out a common factor. In this case, I believe there's a 4x in each one of these. So I pull a 4x out front. I'm left with x squared minus 11x plus 24. Now I think I can factor this. Parentheses, parentheses, x minus minus. I believe that 8 and 3 are going to add up to 11 and also multiply up to 24. So this is the last level of factoring. Multiple steps. Factor out a common thing first, and I'll write up rules for you shortly. This one we're actually going to solve. Because it's equal to 0. And again, we look at it and say, well, I'm not sure what to do with it. First things first, is there a common factor? And I can pull out 3x from both. 3x, and that leaves me x squared equals 0. And I can solve this side over here, x equals 0. And this side, there's actually no solution. But don't worry, I won't usually do something like that to you. So flip the sheet over. Let's put it all together. First things first, factor out the greatest common monomial, so like a 3x or a 2 or a negative 5x squared. Factor that out first. Look for a difference of two squares or a perfect square. And again, talked about this before. Look for the numbers 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, 121, 144, 169. Look for those numbers. They're giveaways, especially after you factor out your common monomial first. If it's a trinomial, factors needed, either simple or complex. Simple being an a value of 1, complex meaning a value of something other than 1. If it's got 4 terms, make sure it's organized right, factor by grouping, and don't forget to solve and check if needed, if we have n equal to 0. So, first things first, pull out a common monomial. You might want to pause the tape and try these on your own, but remember, always pull out a common monomial first. And now I'll solve them. Might think I'm done, I'm not, because I recognize a 4, so it tells me it's going to be an x plus 2, x minus 2. Now I get x equals 0, x equals negative 2, x equals 2. Look at this, could just factor it like a trinomial, but also see the 9. It's a perfect square. Y equals 0, y equals 3, y equals 3. Common monomial is m. Now I've got a simple trinomial. Looks like minus 4 and plus 2. Yep. Over here, I can pull out a 2h squared. Leaves me with 25h squared minus 1. Which is got a couple perfect squares in it, so I'm guessing I'm going to get a 5h plus 1, 5h minus 1. Looking at it, I would have to say that's correct. So this is going to be h equals 0. This will be h equals negative 1/5. H equals 1/5. Factoring is one of the big skills in algebra. You're going to use it in geometry. You're going to use it all the time in Algebra 2, especially in pre-calculus and calculus. So please take some time, practice all the problems you can, and get very comfortable at it. You'll also see it a lot on an ACT, so you want to be ready for it. Good luck.